Hey everyone! Have you ever wondered how someone can go from low income to a six-figure net worth? Well, stick around and I'm going to show you exactly how I did it and how you can too. It's these 3 steps that I took, and these steps are steps anyone can follow, truly. I'm your investing coach, Wahida, and today we're talking about something that's close to my heart. And no matter how many times I talk about it, and no matter how many different ways I talk about it, it still feels like I'm bearing my soul a little bit. So please be kind. Today we're talking about how I got out of poverty and the steps I took to get me out, the different money moves it took, and just the shit ton of grit it took as well, right? So whether you're struggling financially or you're just starting to build wealth, this video is for you. I'm going to share how I went from low income to hitting 100,000 net worth at the age of 27. I'm 31 now, and I have a net worth of well over $300,000. And as I build my wealth, I'm going to bring my community with me. I'm going to bring you with me. So let's dive in. All right. Here's what we're covering today. We've got 3 main strategies that were truly game changers for me when I was starting to just get my shit together financially, right? Number 1 was to keep college costs low, and I mean really low. Step 2 is to minimize living expenses after graduation. And even if you are living in an expensive city, try to keep those expenses low. I know this can be a little bit hard to do, but do your best. And then step number 3 that really allowed me to start building wealth was to live below my means and invest the difference. And if you only hear one thing from these videos, hear this: you have to invest the difference. This is where the wealth building happens. This is where the magic happens. Before we dive deeper into those 3 steps, let's do a little bit of a rewind and go into a little bit of my backstory. So growing up, we were broke. Not the, oh, we can't afford fancy vacations broke. I'm talking about food stamps, free school lunches, and a big fat 0 on the expected family contributions for college, right? So yeah, when I was filling out that FAFSA, Uncle Sam looked at our finances and was like, yep, your family can afford to pay exactly $0 for college. I just laughed through the pain, right? What got me on this money saving journey? Well, it was this article that I ran across when I was 17 years old. So I'm 17 years old, I'm about to graduate from high school, and I come across this article that said it takes nearly 10 years of nothing going wrong to escape poverty. That was my wake-up call. I decided right then and there that I was going to do everything I could to save as much as possible. I didn't have a specific number in mind. I didn't have specific steps or how-tos to get to this point. I just knew I had to start. And boy, let me tell you, my scarcity mindset during this time ran fucking rampant. But I guess at least during this point in my life, that's what I needed. We're healing from that scarcity mindset, but it takes work to shed and step into that abundance mindset for sure. And I was trying to look for this original article, but I couldn't find it. But there's a similar one that I did find, and it sounds like it was from the same study. It's an article from economist Peter Temin, and he found that it takes nearly 20 years of nothing going wrong to escape poverty. So 20 years. And you know what? That lines up pretty well with my experience. So if you look at the study, you'll see that the study is talking about children born into poverty and how it takes education to get out. So it's looking at primary school, secondary school, high school, and then college. So honestly, just another reason for college to be free, right? All right, let's break down those key steps that I mentioned earlier that were very pivotal for me to be able to save my first 100K. Step number 1 is to keep college costs low. Girl, this is crucial. So before I even stepped foot on a college campus, way back when I was in high school, I was applying for scholarships like it was my day job, right? And pro tip, if you're low income and you've got good grades, look for need-based scholarships. trust me, there's money for you out there. And let me know in the comments if you have questions on how to find scholarships. I remember when I was back in high school, like I felt just so lost navigating this for the first time. And I felt like I didn't have very many people to ask for help. So ask me for help if you have any questions. When I was 18 years old, I was set on going to this private school. In my 18-year-old brain, I thought, oh, private school, that means better, obviously. I even did an overnight stay at multiple private schools. I hung out with the students, I ate at the cafeteria, I attended a class, and I was like, yeah, I can see myself here. Then I met with the financial aid office, and that's when reality hit. So even with aid, I was looking at least $40,000 in loans plus housing costs. Meanwhile, I had a full ride scholarship to a public university that covered tuition and housing. And I was still like, I don't know what to choose. Should I go to private school or should I go to public school? And side note, before I got into wealth management, I worked in higher education for 6 years. So take it from me, private does not automatically mean better. My feet's dying. Okay, I had my legs crossed. All right. Eventually, I came to my senses and I chose public school. And guess what? It was actually better for my major, and the school had more free resources for me anyways. Plus, it was a full fucking ride. Like, shout out to 21st Century Scholars. Like, thank you. By keeping college costs low, I was able to start my wealth building journey at $0, all right, instead of $40,000 in debt. That was a huge head start and a privilege few get. Currently, the average debt an undergrad student takes out for their bachelor's is about $32,000 in loans. So a lot of fucking money. All right. The next step that was pivotal for me to be able to go from low income to saving my first 100K at 27 years old was step number 2, minimizing living expenses after graduation. So this is where a lot of people slip up. They get their first job after college and immediately upgrade their lifestyle. And why not, right? It's so easy to. But please, just try to resist that, at least for a little while. For me, to keep my living expenses low after graduation, I moved back in with my brother back in Indiana. I lived with him for about 3 years. I was staying in the living room, and I was helping him with the bills, honestly. Then, after that, my partner and I, we moved to New York City. And now you're probably thinking, like, New York City, like, how is that keeping expenses low? Well, we stayed in a renovated attic with family friends in like a deep Queens. I'm talking about like an hour train ride into Manhattan. And here's one of the only videos that I have of that 400 square foot space. It's like I knew even back then that the space wasn't really photogenic and I didn't take many photos. And this video was taken during the start of the pandemic when we were bored, clearly. It wasn't glamorous, but my half of the rent was $550, including utilities and internet in New York City. And I know that it's an enormous privilege to have affordable living in such a high cost of living city. So even as unglamorous as it was, not everyone had access to affordable living. So I know I'm super grateful for that opportunity to like just save a lot of money. After a year of attic life, we moved from New York City and we moved into a luxury apartment in downtown San Francisco, as you can see here. But here's the key. I was slow to upgrade. Those years of low expenses allowed me to save and invest so much more than if I had upgraded my lifestyle in the beginning when I started earning from my first job, right? So if you're still here watching 2/3 through the video, thank you for being here. Like, truly thank you for your support. I hope these videos are providing you value because it honestly can feel like I'm bearing my soul for y'all, but it's important information to get out. All right. The final step that allowed me to go from low income to 100K net worth at 27 years old was to step number 3, live below my means and invest the difference. And if you're only gonna hear one thing from this video, like hear this, remember this, you have to invest the difference. This is where the wealth building happens. You cannot save your way to wealth, you have to invest. So when I was living in Fort Wayne, Indiana, I was making about $35,000 a year in the nonprofit sector. And then I moved to New York City. I got a new job at a university and my salary jumped to $62,000, so it nearly doubled. But here's the thing, even with my pay almost doubling, I technically took a pay cut in terms of cost of living. The dollar just doesn't go as far in New York City. But because I was able to split costs with my partner and live in deep Queens in an attic, I was able to save my entire pay increase. I didn't inflate my lifestyle at all until we moved to San Francisco. That's when my window view went from this to this. By that point, I had built a solid financial foundation. All in all, it took me about 4.5 years to save $100,000 with an average salary of about $44,000. So it's not about how much you make, it's about how much you keep and invest. All right, let's wrap this up. So remember, wealth building isn't about overnight success or getting lucky. It's about making consistent, smart money decisions over time. So whether you're starting from zero or even in the negatives, you can build a financial future. You can build a strong financial future. Start today, stay consistent, and I promise you, your future self will thank you. And I've got some exciting news as well. I'm building a wealth building starter kit, a guide on how to get your financial system in check so you can start building wealth. So let me know in the comment if this is something you'd be interested in. It'll keep me motivated to creating it for you. And I'll let you know first once it's ready. All right, y'all. Thanks so much for watching. And here is to your financial success. All right. See you in the next video. Bye.